Hi there. So, before we begin, yes, I'm aware that the game studio, Visceral Games, who made Dead Space has since been dissolved. And yes, I am aware that the former game director is now working on a new survival horror game in space, I believe called the Callisto Protocol. But EA still owned the intellectual property for Dead Space. They had this whole expanded Dead Space universe. They put an awful lot of time and money into it, and it has an awful lot of people eager to see a new entry in the series. I'm one of them, so here's my pitch for a new Dead Space. Oh, this is a soft reboot. If you follow the storyline of Dead Space 3 and into the DLC, it sort of sets up an end-of-the-world situation with stakes impossibly high. Maybe it was meant to be done as this is the end of the story, everyone's dead. And that's how it closed out the series. But this is a bit of a reboot. We'll discard a lot of the characters from the original trilogy, except Isaac, of course, but maintain the aesthetic of Dead Space, the sound, the atmosphere. Okay, we pick up on a mining vessel, out amongst the stars and the planets. Isaac is on board and a bit of a loner. The crew go about their business of course, mining planets, gathering resources. Isaac does his job and he does his job well. But he isn't, he's not high-fiving people. During a routine mission, something is discovered. Something is always discovered. A marker. The crew, and including the captain, think of this as a wonderful discovery. Hey, we're out here just for a regular job, we found this thing. This thing looks expensive. Alright, we'll put it on board, we bring it to the next outpost, and we'll see if we can shop it around. Maybe, get a nice little payday on top of what else we're getting. Divide amongst the crew to be, egalitarian. Isaac hears about this and freaks. For the first time, he's talking a lot. Panicked. Saying to the crew, you gotta put it back, destroy it. We need to leave now. They say, Isaac, listen. We're out here, amongst the stars, away from our family for a long time. This could be a big payday, and we could spend more time at home and less time in the vast nothingness of space. We're taking it. Now, unlike other media things where the main character just says, you gotta put it back, and never explains why. No, Isaac sits them down and goes into graphic detail about what that marker can do. Everyone thinks he's fucking crazy. They humor him and say, okay, well, here's what we'll do. We'll go to the outpost, we'll see if we can get some information about it, and then we'll see what to do from there. But we won't bring it on board, Isaac. Okay, how about that? Isaac says, fine. And then the moment he's gone, the captain turns around to his lieutenant. Yeah, definitely take that on board. I don't know what he was talking about. Put in the cargo. Don't tell Isaac. It'll be fine. Of course it's not fine. The rattling, the horror, the screams, the anguish, it all comes on board with the marker. They load up, they get to leave. Isaac is alone in his quarters and starts having thumping headaches. He knows they've brought it on board. He goes in search of it, finds the marker, flips out, telling them they've all doomed us, we're all dead. And they just can't deal with it. Isaac then tries to get some weapons to destroy it himself. He's subdued by the crew. He's tied up and he's put into the brig. And it's like, okay, Isaac, listen, relax, it's fine. Much like the beginning of Dead Space 2, someone rattling on the door to let him free. Similar thing. Someone bursts open the door, frees up Isaac and says, you were right, people are going crazy. You need to help us. You know what this is, we don't. They free him, and then of course gameplay. Gameplay-wise, you would have been on the planet initially with the crew. You would have been doing the rudimentary jobs of mining and engineering and fixing stuff. How would you describe the walk and talk sections? No combat yet. Once you're released from the brig, no weapons. You're not in a straitjacket like Dead Space 2, but no weapons. Everything is lethal. By the time Isaac and the person who freed him gets back to the bridge, unfortunately the captain has turned. Not in a typical way. This is what I want to approach of that. The necromorphs normally are quick changing. I want the morph to be a bit slower. Maybe this marker isn't as powerful, so they don't turn from human to necromorph quite so quickly. I mean, physically. Maybe there's stages to it, like stage 1 is human, stage 2 is maybe they're a bit hunched over, stage 3 is you start to see the I don't know what you call them, the things jutting out from their back. You know, they have human arms and then those things jutting out as well. Stage 4 is their skin is turning a different colour, and stage 5 they're a necromorph. So the captain has lost his mind, and by the time Isaac gets to the bridge, the captain's gone. He's put in coordinates for the outpost. He's locked everyone out of the system. No ability to send a distress signal. They're going to arrive at the outpost with who knows how many tens of thousands of people. With the marker and necromorphs on board, it is a disaster. Now you take over as Isaac proper. First thing he does, I need a plasma cutter. Don't aim for the heads, you dismember them. Isaac's in charge. People listen to Isaac for once. And what begins then is a slow descent into the heart of darkness. The captain has gone to the cargo where the marker is. Isaac and the crew are up in the bridge. The game is to get from the bridge to the cargo hold, to blast the marker out into space, destroy it with a missile or something, or freeze it and shatter it into 1,000,000 billion pieces. Fortunately, you can't blast stuff out from the cargo from the bridge. You got to go down and do it manually. And like I said, a descent into the heart of darkness. Stuff gets the necromorphs go from stage 1 morphing to like, are they still human? Can we kill them? How do you morally come around that idea of he looks pretty human, but we're still going to kill him because he might be turning, but he is turning. Yeah, I want you to feel bad about dismembering mostly normal looking people initially. And then as you descend, stuff gets worse. The ship is in worse condition. There's stuff growing on the walls. The enemies are stronger. They're more varied. They're more gruesome. And all the while, the captain is nattering on over the radio of talking about how, no, don't you see, this is the next step of human evolution, much like the rhetoric of unitology. We are going to become one consciousness. Imagine what we could do with the combined intellect of all humans. Say goodbye to disease. Say goodbye to mining resources. We'll create our own resources, infinite, faster than light travel. We can take over the universe. Join us, Isaac. Join us. No crafting. Upgrades are available, but no crafting. That whole thing is gone. It is, you can find a power node, you can upgrade a weapon. That's a-okay. Also, fewer enemies overall, but deadlier. I want it to be a horror / action. I want it to be spooky. I want the atmosphere, the dread. I want this to be a game you play with the lights off and just terrify yourself. So after a 10-hour campaign, 10 hours, nice and tight, it's all the dead space we know about, upgrading weapons, killing necromorphs, overcoming some puzzles, the deterioration of the ship, eventually getting to the cargo hold where there is the captain and the marker, and you lead to this final boss fight where the captain turns into a super necromorph. I'm not talking about something that is huge, I'm talking about similar to the enemies you've been killing throughout the game, but stronger, more powerful, faster, more aggressive. Utilize the skills you've been learning throughout the game to beat the boss at the very end of the game. Eventually the captain is defeated, stuff is blasted out the cargo hold, the marker's destroyed, the ship arrives at the outpost, everyone is relieved. Unfortunately, 90% of the crew have been turned and killed, and the remaining 10% of the crew are questioning if they'll ever turn themselves. So it's not a hopeful ending, it is a ticking time bomb ending. But with all good single player games, there comes an immense New Game Plus. So first of all, New Game Plus offers more upgrades to weapons. The weapons you've been upgrading throughout the game, there are now new versions, more powerful versions of those available at the store. Also, new outfits. Allow players to have a little bit of fun. I'm talking maybe there's an outfit for Isaac where he can hover. For one, you can just sort of hover around the level. Disco themed one, why not? Call back to a Dead Space 1 outfit, maybe a Dead Space 2 outfit, Dead Space 3 outfit. Also, if wanted, enemies are more difficult to kill to keep a bit of a challenge there. Speaking of challenge, Hardcore mode makes a return. It does. 3 saves to beat the entire game. That makes a return. Plenty of difficulties. Easy, normal, hard, hardcore. Of course, if you beat the game on hardcore, you should get some super ultra powerful weapon, much like the foam finger, but I'm thinking instead of a foam finger, something with an awful lot of lights and explosions. Just change it up. Also a time attack mode. Beat levels efficiently and fast. Get a higher score, get a higher grade. And if you like the combat, let's put some challenge rooms. How about that? 10 challenge rooms with increased difficulty, and maybe even the final challenge room is fighting not one of the final boss of the game, but 3. Those are my ideas and pitch for a new Dead Space. Huge fan of the series, would love to see it return. Yeah, it's fun to dream, folks. If you don't dream, life gets awful boring. Okay, until next time, hope you're keeping well and take care.